Hello everybody, going to get started with today's live stream momentarily. Got an important update for everyone today, going to be discussing whether or not we're in a bear market. So just sit tight, we'll give it another 30 seconds to 60 seconds for people to join us. Like I said, got an important update today, and I want to make sure as many people join us as possible before we get into today's content and live stream. I see we have quite a few people joining us. Welcome, welcome. It's Rod with Power Group. Welcome back on the Pursuit of Wealth. Going to get started with today's live stream in about 30 seconds. If you could smash the like, subscribe to the channel, tick the bell, you'll be notified on any future updates. Got a really important update for you guys today. Going to go over my thoughts and opinions on the state of the market, what to expect in the days and weeks ahead, and whether or not we have confirmed a bear market. So just sit tight and we'll get started in about 15 seconds. All right, welcome back on the Pursuit of Wealth, everybody. It's Monday, May 9th. Hope you're well today. Hope you had a fantastic weekend. I got quite a few videos out over the weekend, one of which, I can't remember exactly, I think it was the fundamentals don't matter in the MJ space. I said watch out for potential downside. We could see more downside in the broader market, which could result in more downside in MJ. So we're going to cover a lot of different things today. Before we get to it, though, make sure to smash the like, subscribe to the channel. It doesn't cost you anything. And tick the bell, you'll be notified on any future updates. Again, lots of fear in the markets today, and going to go over whether or not we've entered a bear market. Did we confirm it? Let me know in the comments. Do you think we just confirmed a bear market in the stock market? Do you think we confirmed a bear market in the crypto space? I always love hearing from you, and like I said, let me know in the comments. I'd love to get your thoughts and opinions, but we'll jump into my thoughts and opinions. Taking a look at the crypto space, we are extremely bearish across the board, all of our sectors. We have Bitcoin closing in on 30,000 support. I mentioned yesterday that if Bitcoin lost 33K, that we were likely going to be heading back to the 20K level. And we also lost our monthly support trend line here on Bitcoin. We also had a head and shoulders to be watching. But something that I want to highlight here is the fact that we have yet to lose our lows at 28K. So I said that if we lost 33K, which was the low here at 32,933, we just confirmed a monthly downtrend on SPY and Bitcoin. You can see we have a lower high and lower low here on SPY, first time since 2008. 14 years, folks, and we're now in a monthly downtrend. That is very, very bad, but I do have some, it's not all doom and gloom. I do think we're going to find some support here very soon, and I'll get more into that in just a second. But SPY confirmed a monthly downtrend as well with a lower high and lower low, first time since we've been at well, since we started this bull run from before 10K, right? So this is a huge concern, but again, we haven't lost these lows at 28.8. So if we lose 28K, that's going to confirm a bear market. I don't think we've confirmed a bear market yet. We did confirm a monthly downtrend, but until we break out these original lows at 28K, we're not in a bear market. Everybody who tells you that they are, they're just completely lying because they don't understand technical analysis. If we went to a new all-time high and then we pulled back 50% and then we went into another new all-time high, that is showing strength, not weakness. And the fact that we're holding those original lows so far is showing strength, not weakness. Now, if we lose 28K, the measured move of this head and shoulders is going to take us down to about 20K. So again, if we lose, I said if we lost 33K, expect to move down to about 28K. And like I said, if we lose, we could even just adjust this a little bit here. But if we lose 28K, we're likely heading down to that 20K area. That would bring us down to the Fibonacci level here as well at 19,467. The next level to be watching after the 1618. So again, all about 28K. If we lose 28K, then it's more than likely a bear market, in my opinion. But again, it could be a little bit of a bear trap as well. We'll want to see follow through. I want to lose 27K to be absolutely confident, and if we do, then it's Geronimo. Essentially, we could be dropping all the way down to 20,000. So again, not a bear market yet, in my opinion. SPY testing monthly EMA 26 here, that white line, the first time since March 2020 lows. If we look at the weekly chart, we're heading to weekly oversold. And again, unless we lose monthly EMA 26, I think we're still in a bull market. This is the first time weekly oversold since March 2020. And if we zoom out to the monthly chart, the first time we've tested monthly EMA 26 since the lows at March 2020. So again, this is just healthy consolidation. But again, we did confirm a lower high and lower low in a monthly downtrend for the first time since 14 years in 2008. And something to be aware of as well is I think we're going to find support here. And the reason I say that is because the dollar is super overbought, right? We're monthly overbought, we're weekly overbought, daily overbought. I did tell people though that on the daily time frame we had a daily bull flag to be watching. And here it is confirming. So if we look at the daily bull flag, look at that. We held the 0.32 Fibonacci perfectly. And if we take the measured move, you essentially just take the from the low to the high, and then you go from the 0.382 fib, and there's our bull flag target. So the bull flag target is targeting 106 on DXY. So that means we could see a little bit more blood from here, and we could see the dollar go to about that 106 area before we start to pull back. Does it have to? Absolutely not. Is this potentially us topping out? We have these upper wicks. That could happen as well. But we need to be anticipating a move up to that 106 level on the DXY. But again, very, very confident in that we're going to see a pullback very, very soon in the dollar because of how overbought we are in all of our time frames, on every single time frame. And then if we zoom back to SPY again, well, SPY's hitting its major psychological support at 400. It's got EMA 26 there as well, the first touch, like I said, since March 2020 lows. And how many people would want to buy weekly oversold the first time since March 2020? I know I would. Personally, I'm looking at switching my mutual funds over from money market. I've been telling people I had all of my mutual funds in a money market, which is basically just like cash. And I'm going to be looking to switch that over here at the end of the day. We've got about an hour and 25 minutes left in the day. When you switch mutual funds, it only executes at the end of the day. So I'm going to wait a little bit longer. But if you guys were part of the POW Group community, you would have been completely prepared for this. So I posted earlier today, remember I was expecting a 400 test on SPY and weekly oversold for the first time since March 2020, and also a test of monthly EMA 26, which is the first time since March 2020. I expect to be strong support, especially since DXY is so heavily overbought. And then if you look into my thread here, I said classic fear at a major support level. Then look what I posted. This was from May 2nd, so 1 week ago. I said 1 week ago, SPY lost 410 support, like I said, would likely happen on Friday since we closed at the low of the month, the week, and daily candles. Also said we were daily oversold twice since the beginning of March 2020, showing a huge momentum shift, and I expected weekly oversold for the first time since March 2020 COVID lows. I expect we will test 400 or a slight flush to hit weekly oversold, and then a massive bounce across stocks and crypto for one final blow off top moment and a rally before the bear market begins. That was 1 week ago. You would have been, or if you would have been tuning into my live streams and subscribed to this channel, you would have known that you'd have been a 1 week heads up ahead of everybody else, right? So exactly what I was expecting happened. And also, like I said, because of how strong the dollar was, I was very confident in saying that. But again, because of how overbought we are now on the dollar, I'm even more confident than ever that we're going to likely find some support here. And I said back test of 400. The low is 399. I said we might even see a flush of 400. We knew that EMA 26 was there at 398.48. So, so many people say technical analysis doesn't matter. Well, if they tell you that, they're completely out to lunch, or they just frankly don't have a sweet clue what they're talking about. But I also said this is going to be a dot-com-like crash. And if we look back to what happened in the dot-com bubble, we dropped 50% from the all-time highs. And look how much we've dropped already from the all-time highs. We're down over 17% already. A lot of people thought I was crazy, but a lot of people getting humbled today. We overextended the 4.618 extension. When you reach a 4.618 extension in a bull market, that means that you can expect a major pullback. And we hit it and then some. So like I said, if we see a dot-com like bubble bust, this is the dot-com bust fractal. We could go all the way down to about 200s, low 200s on SPY over the next couple of years. And again, I think this is one final shakeout. They're not going to make it this easy, I don't think. I think we're going to find support here somewhere around that 398, maybe as low as 390. And then we're going to come back up, and we're going to form a lower high, and then we're going to roll into June and July. That's what I'm looking for. Again, if the dollar wasn't this heavily overbought on all time frames, I'd be a little bit more expecting of downside on the S&P 500. But we know Toronto just ended the state of emergency in regards to C-19. We know that we're probably going to see the economy open up into the summertime, and usually we see that sell in May and go away. but I don't think we're completely done yet. I think we're going to, let me know in the comments below, do you think we're going to completely see the bottom fall out and head back down to that 375, 350 area before a bounce? Or do you think we're going to find support here soon, given the fact how overbought we are on the dollar? And let's just take a look at some of our other markets here. So gold and silver down. Silver, again, getting whacked a lot more because it's more of a risk-off asset and perceived more risky than gold, right? We've been saying for a while now that has been the case. But just taking a look at the MJ space, so I did a video over the weekend. I said, be careful, right? If SPY's heading to weekly oversold, we could see massive downside from here in the MJ space. And a lot of people they didn't want to hear that. But again, I don't tell you what you want to hear. I tell you what you need to hear, and I tell you the truth. And let's just take a look at some of our losers on the day today. We got XTRX, ACB, and Fire and Flower leading the decline. Do we have any green today? No, we do not. So this is a classic example of what to expect if the whole market pulls back. And TAUG and KHRN, AYR leading the decline on the American side. Full disclosure, I did add some MSOS today. I added some Tilray. I added some Hexo. And I also added some XRP today to my long-term bag. Underneath 50 cents here on XRP, down about 12%. This is a little concerning that we're losing 50 cents, but if bulls can step in here, we could see a monthly EMA 12 and 26 bear cross as well, insinuating more downside. It's not looking good, but again, given the fact that DXY is so heavily overbought on all of our macro level timeframes, I think this is just one final shakeout like I was expecting a week ago. And if you're just joining the stream late, if you were a part of our stock community, there's 1 week free trial as well. I'll also be giving away 2 annual memberships to the community on Saturday, May 14th. You'll see I'll schedule a live stream, and if you just comment on that live stream, I'm going to do 2 random comments. But 1 week ago, I said SPY lost 410 support, and I expect that we're likely going to go test 400 or a slight flush to hit weekly oversold. This was 1 week ago, and you would have been completely warned. Again, not tooting my own horn, but it's the truth. You know, this is what learning technical analysis can do. Not just technical analysis, but overall market watch. If you're watching the dollar's heading to monthly overbought. If the dollar's super strong, then that's bad for stocks and crypto. If we haven't hit weekly oversold since March 2020, we haven't tested monthly EMA 26, what's the most likely scenario? Well, if we haven't done it in over 2 years, there's a good chance that it's happening soon, right? But people just get the bull blinders on and they don't want to listen. But now a lot of people getting humbled today, and now they understand why I was taking short positions on the S&P 500 back here at 480, close to that 500. We hit the 4.618 Fibonacci extension level, and people just, you know, Rod doesn't know what he's talking about. Oh, well, now you're down 17% on the S&P 500, and a lot of people head in the sand today, don't even want to open their accounts. Actually, I was opening all my accounts today, paying more attention, while most people, retail, are doing the complete opposite, putting their head in the sand and don't have a clue. I'm preparing. I'm getting my tools sharpened, and I'm preparing for this massive opportunity that we're going to see before I think we see the bear market. But again, you just get all these people who think they're geniuses in a bull market, and then they get humbled by Mr. Market. And what did I say in the last few months? Stay the heck away from tech. We also had a sell alert go off, a Powell go sell alert on Tesla a couple days ago, and here we are breaking to a new weekly lower low. Again, I don't know everything. I don't have a crystal ball. I'm just looking at what the charts are saying and the most likely scenario, and people take offense to that when I say we're going to, you know, all the perma bulls say when I say we're going to correct 50% on the S&P 500, they say, oh no, this time's different, right? This time's different from all the other times. And it's, well, it could be, but the odds don't say that, right? And that's not what the charts are saying. So again, I'm going to be switching my mutual funds more than likely with an hour and 18 minutes left in the day today. I'm more than likely going to be switching my mutual funds over from money market, which is essentially cash, into aggressive growth. Not going to switch my whole retirement account and mutual funds over to aggressive, but I'm going to probably a good chunk, at least half of it. And then I'll look to hold that for a swing for a few weeks, and then I'll look to sell it on a bounce. And then I'll be holding money market cash fund for the foreseeable future, more than likely a year or so, maybe even more. Because like I said, I think we're going to be going into a bear market of multi-years. Grant Cardone, one of the most sought-after business people in the world, expects inflation is going to really, really hurt us for the next 2 to 3 years. That lines up with my way of thinking, this diminishing law of returns in the stock market. We've been on a bull market since 2008. One has to wonder when it's all going to come to a screeching halt, right? And again, I don't have a crystal ball. I'm not, you know, coming on here to spread fear. I'm just saying that the most likely scenario, if we've been in a bull market for almost 15 years, what do you think's the most likely scenario? Do we continue the bull market for another 15 years? Or do we go into a temporary bear market for 2 to 3 years like we did in the dot-com bubble days? When we pulled back, we went from, we pulled back about 50%. And how long did that last? It lasted about 1,095 days, right? So we need to prepare for this. And again, I'm being very, very selective with my long positions. And just I've got a bearish lean, obviously. And if anybody has any ticker requests, make sure to drop them in the comments. I'll take a look at them. But like I said, we did have a POW algo sell alert go off on Tesla. And look at this. From the high of that weekly bounce, we're down over 30%. So it's not as easy as it was, right? It used to be just buy the dip and you win. Now it's bears win and bulls are getting crushed. And it's because they got too complacent. They didn't develop a plan, like I've been screeching and screaming from the rooftops. Sound like a broken record at one point. People saying, you know, I can't believe you're shorting, blah, blah, blah. And here we are. Just going to have a sip of coffee. And I see we have some questions coming in. Let's just take a look at some of our individual tickers. Oh, my God. Coin getting wrecked. They had earnings. No, I think they have earnings on, what is it, Tuesday or Thursday? This is a great entry though. Coinbase tomorrow after close. So again, tomorrow after close, Coinbase coming out with earnings. We're at an all-time low. We IPO'd and we opened at 381 and we hit as low as 83 cents. So Coinbase Global, the exchange, obviously, crypto exchange. This is a great long-term entry here, in my opinion, to start. But again, be very, very selective with your longs and be very, very patient. Don't go all in. That's what people did with MJ. They went all in too quickly. They didn't use the dollar cost averaging approach. They didn't hedge with the SPY S&P 500 short. They didn't save any cash. That's just a classic example of a newbie, right? Somebody who doesn't really know. They think the prices are cheap, but it can always go lower and even lower than that. And here's an example of that. How many people thought Coinbase was going to go to, but we also had a POW algo sell alert go off on Coinbase. So just getting absolutely wrecked. Riot lost $10. I'd be careful on these because we were just at 50 cents in March 2020 lows, right? Even from the lows at March 2020, we're still up 14x. So I'm not looking at any of these blockchain names. Could they see a huge bounce? Absolutely. Could see another 100, 200, 300% move, but I'm just not interested in these high flyer names. I'm being very, very selective with my longs. Only bull list on the bull list today is KHC and TAP. Molson Coors, notable strength compared to the rest of the market. Haven't even started monthly consolidation, and we're in a weekly uptrend. So Molson Coors is very, very strong compared to the rest of the market. All right, take a look at the chat here. Wrecked says Meparitis. Still don't know if I'm saying your name right. Welcome to the stream, though. I think it's going to go to chase all those stop losses under 28K bottom at 25K, in my opinion, and it's simply going to pump afterwards. Charts are pretty useless in crypto, in my opinion. Yeah, I agree. I think we're seeing one last final shakeout on Bitcoin. We're still holding 30K, and it's all about 28K. If we lose 28K, then we lose the bull market structure, right? We lose that higher low pattern. Anybody who tells you we've been in a bear market, they're just completely out to lunch. Maybe they end up being right, and we lose 28K, and then we confirm it, and in which case they would be right. But they're not right now because they don't understand technical analysis. In order to invalidate this structure, you need to lose that initial low. We're holding higher lows. So again, if someone tells you we're in a bear market, they're just completely pulling it out of their you-know-what. They have no idea what they're talking about. And if we lose 28K, then yes, bear market confirmed, we lose that higher low structure, and we did confirm a monthly downtrend. But again, it's all about these initial lows from the initial pullback, right? And like, look how bearish we are in the markets everywhere, and we're still not losing our initial lows at 28K. That shows strength, in my opinion, not weakness. So again, yes, I think that's true. We could see a lot of stop losses set around 27,900, just under 28K, and then we flush out those weak hands. We hit weekly oversold, and on Bitcoin, that would be the first time since March 2020 lows as well. So again, weekly oversold looks pretty much baked in at this point. But I would have to agree with you on that. I think that, but look how we're crushed, right? We're getting daily oversold, we're heading to weekly oversold. And let's just take a look at the fear and greed, both in crypto and stocks. So stocks, we still haven't really lost 400 yet, and we're in extreme fear. We don't just keep going. Nothing goes straight down forever, and nothing goes straight up forever. If we're in extreme greed and we're going straight up, well, we're likely due for a pullback. If we're in extreme fear and we're going straight down, we're likely due for a bounce. So crypto, we're at 11. Again, if we were cooling off these RSIs a little bit slower, if we didn't drop this quick, when we're in extreme fear and at 11, pretty much an all-time low on the fear and greed index, and we're coming up major support level here at 28K, do you really think we're going to see much follow through to the downside? We could, right? We could. Nothing's guaranteed. But is that the most likely scenario? And the answer is, I think it's a hard no. Look, SPY held EMA 26. Now we're bouncing into the end of the day. I'm going to likely switch my mutual funds over to aggressive. Hopefully we don't bounce too much at the end of the day, because if you know anything about mutual funds, it only executes at the end of the day. So at the close of business days, at the end of the market. So as soon as the market closes, my mutual fund transaction will occur. So let's say I initiate the mutual fund transaction right now. It doesn't fill at 401 like it is right now, for example. It would fill at whatever the closing price is here in about an hour and 11 minutes. The difference is with an ETF, it's traded like a stock. So when you buy and sell it, that price that you buy and sell at is locked in the second you hit the buy or sell button, right? So that's the difference between an ETF and a mutual fund. ETF trades like a stock, whereas a mutual fund trades only once per day at the end of the day. So I'm hoping that we see a little bit more pullback. We hold EMA 26 rather though at 398, and then I'll look to switch those at the end of the day. I was going to switch it last week when we were here at 405. And then it bounced, a huge bounce, and then we ended up closing at 414, and I was like, no, not interested in switching to aggressive. And then you might have said, well, we bounced 2 days after that, you would have been okay. And it's like, yeah, but then look what happened. We broke to a new lower low, and we failed to break the daily downtrend. Look at, this was the major red flag. So we had major red flag number 1, and then we had major red flag number 2, which was the double top. We had major red flag number 3, which is we failed to break the daily downtrend, and then major red flag number 4, we didn't confirm a daily uptrend, and then we broke to a new lower low. So what does that mean in English? Excuse me. What does that mean in English? So when we're in a daily downtrend, we have lower highs and lower lows. What's this pattern? Lower highs and lower lows. So what does that mean? We're in a daily downtrend with lower highs and lower lows. So in order to break that daily downtrend, we had to break the lower high pattern. So in this instance, 429 was our 64 was our lower high. Look where we got to, 429.66. So we didn't break the daily downtrend. If we would have got above that convincingly, the daily downtrend would have been negated, and then we would have looked for a daily uptrend. We would have negated the daily downtrend, but we still hadn't confirmed a daily uptrend with a higher low and higher high. So what was the major red flag? The double top there at 429.64. We went all the way from 405 to 429 without changing the daily trend or breaking the daily downtrend. We double topped straight into a new lower low. So again, classic bear trap. And as I said, I was expecting weekly oversold. And this is exactly what we got. And again, for people joining the stream late, if you don't understand technical analysis, or you think it's just completely ludicrous, well, how in the world did I say a week ago that I expected if we lost 410 support that we were likely going to go down and test 400 and maybe a slight flush thereof to test EMA 26 and weekly oversold? And I gave you a 1 week heads up. Like I said, that was posted 1 week ago, and you would have been given you would have been able to sell into this run up. And again, we're not financial advisors. We don't know everything, but people in our group, right? We help each other. We're not financial advisors. We just bounce each other ideas off of each other before we hit the buy and sell button. And you don't have to take what we say and do what we say, but at least you can arm yourself with the knowledge that you might not have, because you might be new, or you might not have any idea what technical analysis is. Maybe you're more into fundamentals and things like that, right? Which again, I welcome anybody who, I'm not really a fundamentalist, I'm more of a technical analyst, but none is right or wrong, right? A lot of people can find the same type of conclusions using fundamental analysis, right? There's more than one ways to get to 4. You can do 2 plus 2, you can do 1 plus 1 plus 1 plus 1 plus 1, right? Or maybe I messed that up, 1 plus 1 plus 1 plus 1. You can do 3 plus 1, right? Doesn't matter how you get there, it's all the same. And fundamental analysis can take us there. Technical analysis can take us there. So all these people, and even in crypto, you get these people using on-chain metrics and analysis and more of these fundamental aspects of the market, right? Whereas I use more technical. But I also look into what the fundamentalists are saying. I don't have, people who are diehard fundamentalists, they say, oh, technical analysis doesn't work, then you guys are all insane, blah, blah, blah. Well, it's nothing works 100% of the time. It's looking at the fundamentals, looking at the technicals, looking at the most likely scenario in both aspects, and then making your conclusion, right? I don't know everything about fundamentals, so I follow people who do. And then I bring that into my analysis, right? And just all we're doing in investing and in trading is looking for the most likely scenario and the highest probability outcome, right? And the more knowledge you have, the better you are. So I think charts right now in MJ are completely useless, but there's some things that we can look at, like the weekly MACD. I wouldn't say charts are useless in crypto because, like I said, I expected if we lost 33K that we were heading to 30 and 28K, and then here we are hitting 30 and 28K. But I said as long as 28K holds, bull market's intact. So this is where technicals come into play, and it's very important because if we lose that high or low structure, that's a bear market confirmed. Anybody who says we're in a bear market right now is just completely full of crap, right? They have no idea what they're talking about. They don't know what charts are. They're just saying they think they're in a bear market because we pulled back 50%, right? They don't understand, and they're just looking for views and things like that. They want to come off as but if somebody doesn't know technicals, why not just follow somebody who knows technicals, right? Or follow about 5 of them. If you follow 5 different people and they all say we're not in a bear market yet and you don't know anything about technicals, well, there's a good chance we're not in a bear market, right? Justin Landstrip, MSOS showing relative strength. Yeah, it is. Actually, I would have to agree. So if we bring up MSOS in the face of adversity here today, I did add this to my long-term portfolio today, but I still saved about 20% of my TFSA contribution room. If you're in the US, that's just a tax-free savings account. But again, I didn't average in too quickly. I think that's what most people did in MJ is they averaged in too quickly. They didn't save any dry powder. They didn't short the S&P 500 as a hedge. Again, there's no right or wrong way. It's just your way. And what are you going to do to help you sleep at night or to potentially average down? You could have sold on these lower highs when we were in weekly downtrends and then reloaded cheaper since we were in a weekly downtrend and we just continued that. There's so many ways you could do it, but you need to have a plan. Most people didn't have a plan or they just bought all lump sum all at once and didn't have realistic expectations. Right now, it's a weekly inside bar on MSOS, so key resistance at 1559, support at 1316. If we lose 1316, we continue weekly consolidation. If we break resistance at 1559, we confirm the weekly bounce is underway. And then we'll look for a higher low and a higher high to change that weekly trend. Bulls prove absolutely nothing unless we confirm a weekly uptrend. We need a weekly uptrend, and we're weeks and months away from doing that. So again, this is why I said on my video over the weekend, expect more weakness on the broader market and potentially into MJ. We did invalidate, though, that we had some hidden bullish RSI divergent, but we're breaking back down here, and we are weekly oversold. We're sitting at 26 on the RSI, so 30 is considered oversold. But I would say it's holding up pretty good, but I mean, pretty much on average, everything's down between, between 5 and 20% today. Like our main watch list here, coin down 18%. Yeah, not a lot of green out there today. But yeah, MSOS still got a lot of proving to do. And it's not completely out of the woods, right? Bulls haven't proved absolutely anything at this point. It's a daily inside bar as well. So we're really tightening up. We're going to see a break here soon, in my opinion. And again, I think SPY, look at SPY. It's holding that monthly EMA 26. I expected a back test of 400 and a flush thereof, and I said watch 398.60, monthly EMA 26. First time we tested it since March 2020 lows. First time we touched down on weekly oversold. And you might say, Rob, we didn't quite hit weekly oversold, but what do we know? This is the first time in over 2 years. So to me, we may not get completely oversold. Why? Because we haven't done it in over 2 years. There's going to be a lot of people wanting to buy that dip, myself included, right? So if we hit weekly oversold back here in March 2021, like a year ago, when we broke that up and we hit weekly oversold, well, then I would say, well, we're probably going to go really oversold into the lows here, like well below 30. But if we would have came down and tested weekly, like oversold, maybe we hit 32 and then bounced. So we would have seen something like this where we came up and then weekly, we didn't quite hit weekly oversold, but then we went back up. Then I would have expected an extreme oversold. But the fact that we never really did anything in between there, I don't think we're going to completely go weekly oversold. I think we're going to go weekly oversold, but I don't think it's going to happen until into June and July is where the real selling is going to start. And that sell in May and go away mentality. And we have no resistance now on SPY until 462 on the weekly. Actually, we have a little level here at 450 and 450 psychological. So yeah, 450 and then 462. So we will expect a weekly bounce at some point soon. And like I said, we have pretty much no resistance up until 450 on the weekly time frame. And we know that we're due for a weekly bounce soon. But yeah, MSOS not looking too bad. MSOS, QQQ. So QQQ, I said stay the heck away from tech for like the last, I don't know how many months, but this is why. Down even more than SPY from the all-time high. We're down almost 30%. We're down over 27%. We did have a higher low here at 297. We hit a low of 297, so it's a double bottom perfectly off of that previous monthly higher low. But weaker than SPY because we did lose monthly EMA 26. So now we're a little concerned, but we had a POW algo sell alert go off on QQQ months and months ago. We're below the 10-week moving average. Stochastic and MACD could not be more bearish. On the weekly, we lost all of our weekly moving averages. That was a huge red flag when we closed below the 100 moving average here on the weekly. Once we closed below that, if you would have exited there when we closed right here at 325, that would have saved you about $25 for the downside. We also had a daily death cross. Remember when I said major warning signs? But again, people didn't listen. People don't listen. Major warning signs, POW group. Major warning signs. And in this video from March 31st, I said crypto and S&P 500 major warning signs. What were those major warning signs I was talking about? Death cross. Also first time since March 2020 lows. So we hadn't been weekly oversold since March 2020. We hadn't tested monthly EMA 26 support since March 2020. And we had a death cross, which literally implies in the name, death is coming, like death cross. And then we back tested it and we had the kiss of death, essentially, of the 200-day moving average. And then we rejected, and then that was where we should have exited, right? And that's where I took a lot of my SPY shorts. And again, I've been building a long-term SPY short position, and I pretty much all out of that now today, and I'm going to be looking to flip long. I'm going to switch my mutual fund money market into aggressive, and maybe we go a little bit lower, but I'm not going to put all my retirement account. I'm going to put about 50% into aggressive. But again, it wasn't just QQQ. SPY also death cross back here on mid-March, and then I came out with a video at the end of March telling everybody. I posted a week ago saying that we were likely going to 400 on SPY and likely a flush there. How would I know all of this unless I had a crystal ball, right? Oh, maybe technical analysis does work, right? And it's not just technical analysis, it's using your brain and the most likely scenario. If we've been in a bull market for 14, going on 15 years, we had a death cross for the first time in over 2 years, right? We haven't been weekly oversold in over 2 years. Like, it's just the most likely scenario. And then Bitcoin even had the same cross a couple months before in January, death cross. We even had one back here in June. So we had multiple heads up, and then once SPY and QQQ did it, that was the, but again, I think QQQ could see a bounce here pretty soon. Did it hit weekly oversold? Yep. So with that lower wick today, we technically would have touched down on weekly oversold. So I think we're going to be due for a bounce soon. Oh, wow, lots of questions and chatter going on. Interest rates look toppy too. Yep, they definitely do. And what do we know about interest rates? It's usually not the first or second rate hike. I think they have another meeting in June. I think what's going to happen is they're going to drop a bombshell on us. We're going to rally up into that next Fed meeting, and then they're going to drop a bomb. They're going to say, you know, recession or more interest rate hikes, or inflation is just out of control. And then, like I said, that's lining up with my sell in May and then go away mentality that I've been calling out. Like, just look at this. I've been calling this out for multiple months. And what do we know about whales? It takes them 4 to 6 months to get in and out of a position, meaning if they're net long, it takes them about 4 to 6 months to get net short. And this is what Warren Buffett used to say. Now, let's go back to the dot-com days. When did we peak in the dot-com bubble? We peaked in March. How long did it take before us to roll over? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Oh, how about that? It takes 4 to 6 months for whales and market makers to get in and out of positions. So they flipped from long to short. It took exactly 6 months, and then look what happened. Huge 45% correction and 50% from the all-time high. Now let's look at how many months has it been since the peak. 1, 2, 3, 4. So by that logic, if we see another 1 to 2 months, we could bounce up here again into that 450 area. Maybe we come back and we look like we're going to all-time highs. And just like the dot-com days, we get a lower high and then a lower low. And if we take that bus fractal from .com, it's saying that we could peak around June. That would line up with my sell in May and go away. And then into July and August is where we start to see the selling really pick up. And again, I'll tell you if I think any different, but everything that I'm looking at and analyzing so far is this is what it's saying, right? And the most likely scenario. But yeah, I think that's what's going to happen. This is all a matter of time. The stock market in general will pop because that is what it does. Yeah, but it also doesn't go straight up forever either, right? Look what happened here, and then here, and here. That was a black swan event. But we never confirmed a monthly downtrend all this time. We just broke to new monthly lows and lost the monthly uptrend, but we never confirmed a monthly downtrend convincingly. Now we're confirming a monthly downtrend, but we're coming up on major key supports, and the dollar is extremely overbought. I would not be surprised. I would be surprised if the dollar keeps going from here, but as I said, we have a daily bull flag target on DXY, which would bring us up to about 106. So we can't lose sight of that as well. But we did hit a high of 104.18, so that, that's pretty close. We're pinching pennies at this point, but that's about 2% away. So it could go a little bit higher from here, so just expect a little bit more downside and flushing of those stop losses. But yes, I would agree. The stock market goes up over time, but what do we know? The reason why stock market has been going up for so long since the gold standard really in the the 1960s and 70s is because they took the dollar off the gold standard. So when the dollar's not backed by anything like it was in gold, assets and mortgages or home prices and things like that are going to continue to skyrocket because the dollar's just losing all of its purchasing power. And that's why Warren Buffett has made, because he started investing right around that same time where the gold standard. So he just said, why hold cash? I'll just put everything into the stock market. Of course, it's, equities are just going to go up because the dollar's losing, over 95% of its purchasing power ever since it took it off the gold standard, right? So that is why, but eventually it's going to come a time where we're going to see this law of diminishing returns and we're going to enter a bear market. Not to say we're not going to enter another bull market again on SPY, because we will. But again, I just think the next few years are going to be very, very, very difficult in the traditional stock market. Again, I'm very bullish on MJ. I think once crypto and tech stocks top out, MJ could get hurt temporarily. We correlate to the broader market, but then it's likely going to outperform and recover quickly. And I think MJ is going to be the next. A lot of people who are in tech and in crypto, myself included, are going to look to switch to MJ. I own more crypto. I own more real estate than I do MJ stocks at the moment, but that's going to be changing here over the next couple of weeks and months, in my opinion. Then I'll look to hold majority MJ. Again, I'm being very selective with my longs, and I'm being very patient with my longs. I'm not entering too quickly. I'm dollar cost averaging. I'm hedging the S&P 500. And once I profit on the, thank God I did, right? Because that was the only thing that was going to bring MJ down, and I was correct. So since I hedged with the S&P 500 short position, now I was able to cover that short and then rotate it into more beaten down MJ as a result of the S&P 500 dropping, right? So again, what are you doing to protect your portfolio and capital preservation, right? These are all things that you can learn, and if you didn't do anything, well, now you know for next time. Hexo, not really much going on. 30-cent support now. We got as low as 31 cents, so now we're just looking at psychological supports. We're daily oversold, weekly oversold. We do have a little bit of bullish RSI divergence going on here, though. You can see here we got higher lows and higher highs on the RSI on the weekly time frame, and lower highs and lower lows on the weekly. Something that's very astonishing as well is Hexo is still bullish on the weekly MACD. We're still pretty bullish actually, and it's been trending higher, even though the prices. So we have a little bit of hidden bullish divergence there with regards to the MACD. And remember, if I go back 4 years, the last time the MACD happened was in December of 2019, and then look what happened. We went all the way down from $1 to about $11, and that took from the low, or from that crossing, it took from December 29th to February 2021, right? So a couple years. So if we just cross bullish again in October of 2021, it could be we could be going on a bull market for the next couple of years, right? So again, I think Hexo is getting very close to a bottom. MJ, just not being spared, right, with the weakness in the broader market today. And like I said, over the weekend, it wasn't set up well. If we did see SPY backtest 400 and a flush thereof, and that's exactly what we got today. But holding EMA 26 is a positive sign. You add any physical gold or silver to your portfolio yet? Steve, thanks for the comment. Yeah, everybody else too. Justin, Jam Losi, thanks for your comments. Mirza, how you doing? Thanks for everything. Steve, didn't add any silver yet. And this is kind of why I think that because the whole market is bearish, nothing's going to get spared, right? But I think gold is likely going to go on a massive run soon. And Bitcoin just taking too much attention away from gold, right? Like look what Bitcoin has done since March 2020 lows, right? It's digital gold. It's gone up 17x, and now let's look at gold from March 2020 low. it went up not even 2x, right? So, but I do think this is a great idea to, or that was silver, my bad. But gold from March 2020 lows. It didn't even go up, it didn't even go up 1x. So, yeah, this could be almost a cup and handle here too. And if we take the measured move of the cup and handle, you'd be looking at somewhere around $2,500 gold, which is possible. I'm just not a big fan of gold, to be honest. Like I just don't know. I think the altcoins. I'm not in Bitcoin anymore. I just think the altcoins have better risk to reward at the moment versus gold. Gold just boring. But I do think gold could. We know that the SDR basket is likely going to be rebalanced at some point at the end of July, I believe it was, which they could potentially up those gold SDRs. If you don't know what that is, just Google it. But that's something that we need to be aware of as well. But I think it's a great trade, gold. Personally, if you're looking at an entry, we are consolidating here on the monthly, and you could maybe set a stop loss. We don't have any real supports nearby, but 17, set your stop below the previous weekly support here at 1780. But I'm just not completely sold on gold. But I may look to add some, because when the U.S. dollar starts to correct, and then if Bitcoin starts to enter its bear market and lose 28K, that could be a nice opportunity for gold, right, as a safe haven. If the dollar's pulling back and crypto's pulling back, well, what do we know about crypto? Digital gold went up 17x, and gold didn't even go up 1x or 2x. So it's entirely possible that gold takes back some of that market share. So I'd be watching. Maybe consider adding some gold if Bitcoin lost 28K. Justin, CPI Wednesday might be interesting. Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, the fake CPI, because they don't even factor in the same metrics that they used to. So it's probably a lot worse than what it looks like. But yeah, 40-year high inflation. Justin, again, I've been adding at each lower low on MSOS, got 18.5 average, very good. Not great, but trying to add. Yeah, you bet. Well, as long as we have realistic expectations, right? And you have a plan before you enter. It's people who enter and then they're down 80% or 60% and then they exit because they panic sell and they didn't have a plan, right? They didn't dollar cost average, they didn't save cash on the side, they didn't short the S&P 500 as a hedge, right? There's so many things that we can do to protect ourselves. Justin, Siona says, Justin, the problem is quantitative tightening. Fed is no longer our friend. We have a mini crash in 2018 and 2020 after yield curve inversion. Yeah, exactly. So the money printing has stopped, but it could happen again. We know that they're addicted to money printing. But yeah, it's certainly looking like, we can't just buy every dip and win anymore. Fed will flip soon. Yeah, I agree. At least temporarily. They might come in and then bail us out one more time, and then there's just no tools left in their tool belt, like they always say. Siona, again, both instances Fed was not our friend. Yeah, I wouldn't ever consider the Fed my friend, but Siona, and isn't it convenient that the Feds got to sell their stocks because they shouldn't own stocks at the peak, right? It's like they get to sell their stocks and then look like heroes, like, oh, we shouldn't be allowed to own stocks. We have to sell. And they sold here like at the peak. And then now I think Congress is going to be forced to sell their stocks. So that's why I think we're going to see another bounce as well. And also the economy open up more into, with regards to C-19 and things like that. I think that could be another wave of momentum for the upside. HMMJ lower low on the monthly. Yeah, wouldn't be surprised. Lower low. New all-time low as well. And that's what I mentioned in my video from the weekend as well, right? I said MSOS was hitting a new all-time low, HMMJ wasn't, so we could potentially see a little bit more downside. And like, man, just think of how big these bounces are going to be in MJ once, because like there's so many bullish fundamentals going on in MJ. Like the MJ sector has never been this bullish fundamentally speaking. But again, as I said in my video over the weekend, fundamentals do not matter yet. Keyword being yet. And this is a classic example. We know New Jersey came online, New York's coming online, we got Switzerland trialing rec, we got Germany potentially going to legalize. We've got safe banking with a really good chance. Now we've got potentially 10 Republicans on board after we found out on Saturday. We've got all these partnerships and Jones Soda and all these Fortune 500, 200 companies looking into the space, but nothing's moving the needle, right? And that's because we're in a bear market and the broader market is weak and fundamentals just don't matter. Everything moves in tandem, and eventually, once fundamentals matter, this thing's going to rip faces. It's going to completely melt faces, and what I think is going to take us there is a sector-wide catalyst, which is going to be safe banking. And I think there's a very, very high chance that, no pun intended, that gets passed this year. Siona, they're already saying they tightened too much. Yeah, exactly. I think a 4-year-old could have spent 20 minutes researching the Fed's money printing over the last couple of years and came to the same conclusion, right? Like, these people are borderline crooks. Like, they are literally going to evaporate people's retirements because of how much they printed. And, you know, now they're blaming it on the war and blah, blah, blah. It's like, no, you numbskulls, you printed like trillions and trillions of dollars. You added more money. There's more money in circulation today than there was ever, and they added like 90% of the money flow and the money in circulation over the last decade, right? Yeah, you don't have to be an economic genius to realize that this was going to create inflation, and we might not have even seen the worst of it yet. It might peak temporarily and then come down and then go up again, which I think is probably what is the most likely scenario. MJ just also has the fundamentals backing. Yeah, it has such bullish fundamentals. It's just nothing's moving the needle, right? We need a sector-wide catalyst that's going to take us, that's going to explode the sector, right? And that's probably safe banking. Why? Because safe banking will create a lot of hype and euphoria. But not only that, it's going to bring the floodgates and the capital, the waves of capital from the financial institutions. We know a lot of retail investors, brokers like JP Morgan, are preventing them from buying. There's some people who even showed that they couldn't buy on their broker. They couldn't buy MSOS. It was restricting them. So it's a retail market right now, right? Except for LPs, but that's why LPs are down more than MSOs, is because they're on U.S. major exchanges, and you got all these hedge funds and market makers and financial, trillion-dollar financial institutions that are shorting it, because they know that the market moves in tandem, and they're going to be able to make a killing because they know that it's a retail market, and most retail can't even get into USMJ right now, or financial institutions. So it's an easy short for them, right? Until safe banking, they're like, okay, we're just going to keep shorting every rip until safe banking, because we know nothing's going to change this market until we get a sector-wide catalyst, something huge like that, like safe banking, right? Yeah, I think they get quite a bit of data showing them they shouldn't raise anymore. Yeah, absolutely. Lots more data coming in the next month, adding to that. Yep. I can still see a large triangle on the indices forming. Yep, you bet. Jam Losi, the inflation numbers are coming out on Wednesday, and so we will see. If the numbers are higher than expect, more dip in the market. If they improve slightly, we expect more upside. Yep. And I think everybody's going to be expecting, I'm pretty much a contrarian investor. Like, when I see 90% or more of retail think a certain way, I'm like nervous, right? And then I start to think the other way, and try to have it unbiased. Like, if I find out that 90% of retail investors, like 90% of the time, I'm going to do the opposite, right? And if 90% of people think that the interest rates are going to be really bad, I wouldn't be surprised if they actually came in better than expected this week. And it's like the same with MSOs, right? Every retail investor thinks LPs are garbage and MSOs are the only thing worth owning. That tells me to be cautious and very, very nervous, right? Because retail investors are usually wrong. Like the majority of the time, right? So that's why I hold both MSOs and LPs. I actually own more LPs than I do MSOs, because yeah, I don't like to get slaughtered like the herd. And when the herd's going one way, I generally go the other way, and it's worked good for me so far. And yeah, I'm probably gonna keep going. It's like whenever CNBC Jim Cramer comes on Fast Money, right? It's like, do the opposite, and majority of the time you'll win. Not the huge sell-off of 50%. Yeah, I think we're going to see a 50% correction from the all-time high. It's just probably won't happen for many months, right? Nothing goes straight down forever. Nothing goes straight up forever. It's ebbs and flows with lower highs and lower lows, or higher lows and higher highs, right? I'm in the camp that inflation will actually drop more significantly than expected. Yeah, exactly. I agree. I think once the majority think a certain way, you think the opposite, right? Hunter Mix, how you doing? Do you hold any ADA? No, I've been telling people to get the hell away from ADA, actually. I said I was very, like, when an asset goes from a penny to $3.16 in a little over a year, I have no interest in it. Simple as that. Moving on. Like, think about that. If you put $1,000, you'd have almost $200,000 a year later, right? So are we going to keep going up another $2 to $4? Are you really going to try to squeeze out another 100% or 200% after we just went 200? Are you going to try to squeeze out another 2x or 3x when we just went 200x, right? You got to look at the most likely scenario, right? And you got to look back, and that's why charts are so important, right? We were also monthly overbought, and now we're heading to monthly oversold. I said to people here, get the hell away from ADA, right? And here we are down almost 80%. So yeah, I was like all out of ADA back here, and or somewhere around there. I didn't chase the whole thing. But how many people thought it was going to go from 1 penny all the way up to $3.16 in 549 days, right? A little over a year. It's like a year and a half almost. It went up. So literally, if you put $1,000 into ADA back here in March 2020 to right here, you'd have $200,000. You'd be almost a million, a quarter of a millionaire off a $1,000 investment, right? You put in 4,000, you'd be a millionaire. So just no interest in ADA because of that. I'd buy ADA maybe once all cryptos drop 70, 80% from their all-time highs or from their recent highs, then I'd maybe scoop up ADA. Not to say ADA can't go back up to $3, right? It probably might. But I just think there's better risk to reward opportunity out there on names that didn't run 200x in a year. Look at Dogecoin. Dogecoin ran like an insane amount. It went from, Dogecoin went from a tenth of a penny to 76 cents, right? So if we take the 0.76 divided by 0.0011, that's 690x. So if you put $1,000 into Dogecoin in March 2020, exactly 1 year later, you'd have $690,000. So if you put $4,000 into Dogecoin in a year, you'd have $2.7 million. So who would ever put a large amount of money into Dogecoin and ADA? It just makes no sense. You missed the boat. You just got to kind of accept it and then move on, find something else, in my opinion. Meparitis, I am happy to be in XLM today, only down 10%. Yeah, my biggest holdings are XRP, XLM, Litecoin, Link, Solo, SGB, EOS, and then I got a little bit of Dogecoin. I put like $1,000 into Dogecoin or something there around, because even if we go back to the all-time highs, right, we're looking at about a 5x from here. I think this thing can maybe hit $2, which is about a 20x from here, right? So $1,000 into $20,000. But again, there's more risk to the downside, so that's why I only put in $1,000, right? It's only like 2% of my crypto portfolio, like nothing major. I could care less if it went to zero, right? But I don't bet against Elon, and he just bought Twitter, so I think Dogecoin could ramp. But again, Dogecoin very similar to ADA. ADA, I'm not sold on, like, I'm definitely not sold on the Dogecoin fundamentals, but you know, you got Elon back in it and stuff, and we're still in the market of utility doesn't matter and useless coins matter, right? Meme coins, like the age of the meme coins. Eventually, I think in the next bull market in crypto, utility is going to matter. But you know, SHIB and Doge and all these pointless coins that do absolutely nothing utility-wise, they're the star of the show, right? And I think that's going to change, but just be very, very careful on the ADA and those names that have run thousands, hundreds of percent and thousands of percent. Alter destroyed. Yep. Isn't that the truth? Luna down 27%. But we did have Tron. Tron has been pretty strong. I guess they had a burn that just went on. But let's bring up Tron here. So Tron down 14%. But not even starting weekly consolidation yet. And we're in a weekly uptrend on Tron. So generally, you don't see altcoins in weekly uptrends when we're in a bear market, right? So again, this is showing strength and not weakness. We have the low, high, higher, low. As soon as we broke 7 cents resistance, we confirmed a weekly uptrend. Then we were just looking for a weekly consolidation and a higher low compared to the low there at 5.5 cents. We held that higher low structure into another higher high. We could even see a bullish EMA 12 and 26 bull cross on the weekly. So again, if we were in a true bear market, we wouldn't see some alts in a weekly uptrend, in my opinion. And this is showing strength, not weakness. Man, I think exactly like you, Rod. Well, great minds think alike, my friend. I told everyone that ADA was overvalued. Same with Sol, Luna, buy low, sell high. Simple as that. Yeah, exactly. It's not, people get FOMO though, right? Or they think something's a good price, but they don't really go back far enough, right? If you looked at ADA, like if you just looked at ADA from the high there, and then did your measured move, you'd be like, oh my God, we're down 80%. This is super undervalued. But then if you said, but if you only looked at this part of the chart, you'd be like, yeah, this is super undervalued. But then if you go back here and you say, okay, well, where were we in March 2020 and compared to now? We're still up 34x, right? 3,400%. We're down 80%, but we're still up 3,400% from the lows of March 2020. That tells me there's still way more risk to the downside than the upside. And why would I want to buy an asset that's up 200x or 700x in a little over a year and has break to an all-time high when I could buy something like XRP that actually has utility? You don't see XRP getting forked all the time because it just works. You don't see XRP like Ethereum trying to bring in Ethereum 2.0 because the first one doesn't work and the fees are absorbent and just atrocious and laughable. And they don't even know if Ethereum 2.0 proof of stake is going to work. And proof of stake just rewards the rich because the more you hold in a proof of stake model and consensus mechanism, it rewards the rich. So the more that they hold in Ethereum, the more they yield and stake, right? So it's the rich get richer. So again, like Ethereum is the banker's coin. JP Morgan, literally the biggest financial institution in the world who is manipulating markets and gold and silver, everything for decades since markets even became markets, they were the early investor in Ethereum, but then you get all these people calling XRP the banker's coin and they literally have no freaking clue what they're talking about. And XRP just works. You don't see XRP coming out with XRP 2.0. Why did they bring the lawsuit against XRP? Because Ethereum 2.0 wasn't ready and they needed to slow XRP down. XRP passed Ethereum's market cap in 2018, right? They're threatened by it. And it's still in an uptrend and forming higher lows and higher highs and in the top 10 when it's getting sued by the SEC, right? Like it's almost laughable what's going on here. But yeah, XRP, just to go back to its previous all-time highs in 2017, you're looking at a 6x. That's $1,000 into 6,000. And if we go to, let's say if we do something similar to what Bitcoin did and we hit its 3.618 extension, that would bring us to about $11 XRP. And from these current levels, that's about 22x, so $1,000 into $22,000. Bitcoin, Ethereum, and all the other cryptos did it. Why can't XRP when XRP is the best, right? I tell the truth. I don't sugarcoat it. XRP is the best digital asset, period. Like, period. It has the most liquidity. It's being used by enterprise grade level software. It's being used by hundreds and hundreds of banks around the world. It's partnered with Bank of America, which is a huge, huge holding of Warren Buffett. Warren Buffett saying he wouldn't buy all the Bitcoin in the world for $25, but yet he has a huge investment in Bank of America with it's partnered with Ripple, a cryptocurrency company. The world is completely messed up, people. Like, it's so rigged against the retail investor, it's not even funny. And watch what they do, not what they say, right? Plus, Warren Buffett was wrong about Amazon and all those other companies. And what do we know about Microsoft and Apple? Microsoft saved Apple from bankruptcy in 1997. I did a video on that as well. Bet you a lot of people didn't know that. Just goes to show you how rigged the markets are. And now, Apple's worth way more than Microsoft, right? Like, it's so obvious. Not me, huh? Got in at 6 cents. Yeah, if you got in at 88 and 6 cents, that's awesome. Like that, congrats to you. Hopefully you took some profit along the way. My friend bought it at like 2 or 3 cents and he put in like 3,000 and he cashed it out at like $30,000 like almost a year later. He made a ton of money off ADA. But I think he was all out around like $1 or $1.20 or something like that. I wonder what's the fair value of Hexo if you ignore the bear market right now. Fair value? I forget what their book value was there. Yeah, it's slipping my mind at the moment, but like even I did a video or I did a post in the private chat room community I put over the weekend, where was it? Here it is. I encourage everyone to listen to this video, even if you have already. Listen to it again closely. Every word matters. They mentioned Microsoft and Bill Gates in this video too. So they said, we know it's comparing apples to oranges, which is funny because Apple, pun intended. But go and watch this video of Erwin Simon talking about the partnership with Hexo. He says Hexo acquired Redican for about $1 billion about a year ago. A year ago from when this video when it came out after their partnership announcement. And the same kind of thing happened. Microsoft put $150 million into Apple to save it from bankruptcy, and Tilray's putting about $190 million into Hexo, basically to save it from bankruptcy, right? So similar things happening. It's just not going to be to the same scale, right? We're not going to see MJ as big as tech or Microsoft, in my opinion, but we could see the same percentage gains, and I think that these two are going to go on to shape the industry together, just like Apple and Microsoft. They're my two favorite LPs. They have been since, pretty much forever. But go and watch this video. He says that Hexo has a ton of assets. This deal is secured by those assets, and he thinks that Hexo's in a really, really good position. They've got $282 million locked in cash, which is going to keep them afloat for multiple years, and they could tap the equity markets again, and they could, what else was I going to say? They're expecting profitability from operations in the next 4 quarters. So that means if they have enough cash to be afloat, backed by their assets for multiple years, and then they're going to be profitable within 1 year, do the math, right? Sounds like and he said he thinks Hexo's in a really good position and doesn't think that they're going to go insolvent or bankrupt or anything like that. So anytime you get some of these retail investors who have no idea what they're talking about, just bashers and too lazy to put in any research or use their brain, send them this video, right? And then they're going to, of course, say, oh, look at the Tilray chart, it's down 93%. It's like, you numbskull. Price has nothing to do with it, right? Just because, look at the rest of the MJ space, right? Like these are just trolls who know absolutely nothing. Their ego and pride get the best of them. And then instead of just having thoughtful discourse and sharing their opinion and point, and then a rebuttal and trying to persuade and maybe I can teach you something you don't, you can teach me something I don't know, right? But these trolls and these people that just got their head so far up there, they're easily, look at the, MJ's down 90%, you guys are all wrong. It's like, you're not a very good person, right? So just ignore those people, get them out of your life. They have no place being there. But I think we know Hexo was worth over $1 billion at one point. Like, what is it worth now? Market cap wise, 187 million. Are you kidding me? They're going to have 282 million in cash when the Tilray deal goes down. So their market cap's 187. They're going to have more cash soon than their market cap. Like, that is wild. Absolutely wild. Where's the, let's go to financials here. Balance sheet. So total assets, 1.3 million. Total liabilities, 579,000. So this is a great opportunity, like buying when there's blood in the streets, even if the blood is your own. Personally, my two favorite are Hexo and Tilray. I bought added MSOS, Tilray, and Hexo to my TFSA long-term portfolio tax-free savings account, and I added some XRP today. And I saved about 20% or so of that TFSA contribution room in case we do dip a little bit further. But again, it's all about the Tilray deal going through, and it looks like the Tilray deal is well underway to close. And then after it closes, they're going to have 282 million in cash, and their market cap is sitting at 187 million. Again, if Tilray deal didn't go through, that'd be very, very bad, but I'm pretty sure it's gonna. But I'd value Hexo at least $500,000. Like their actual company worth right now. XLM going live with MoneyGram in June. Yep, Flare goes live as well in July 4th, Independence Day. What a weird day to go live for Flare Finance. But that's going to have all these different Flare assets, going to bring smart contracts and DeFi to the XRP ledger. And we're going to have Dogecoin, we're going to have XLM, we're going to have Litecoin, we're going to have XRP. I think they just added support for Algorand and Bitcoin as well. And Liquidity Hub with Ripple as well is going to be huge. But yeah, XLM, MoneyGram in June. XLM We know that USDC is built off of Stellar as well, the stablecoin, and I think that stablecoin is they received a Circle or that USDC received an investment from BlackRock, which is the largest asset manager on the planet, over 10 trillion in under management, and they just invested in USDC, and that's all built off Stellar. Stellar and XRP are the ones, right? They're going to be the ones that figure out payment. XLM is going to be the retail payments, and then wholesale is going to be XRP. Nobody talks about it. Yeah, XLM is under the radar. That's another great example of a buy low, sell high, right? You're going to be very successful in your investments, my friend Meparatus, because yeah, people like to buy here and sell here instead of buying here and selling here. And again, if we go back to what Bitcoin and Ethereum have done, they've reached their 3.618 extensions. So if XLM does the same, that'd bring us up to about $3.75. So just to hit its all-time high in 2017, you're looking at 5x. And if we do what Bitcoin and Ethereum and all other cryptos have done, that's about a 25x. So $1,000 at this, if you invested $1,000 at these levels, that's about $25,000 you'd have if we hit the same level that XRP or that Bitcoin and Ethereum, and pretty much the majority already have. Matt says we're screwed. Canadian real estate is screwed as well. Yeah, I sold both my Canadian real estate properties last year, and everybody thought I was crazy. Saw a lot of people buying homes. I was like, ooh, I'm selling, and I'm going to wait for a dip. And then I bought a condo in Edmonton for $70,000. Where do you know you can buy a condo these days? One bedroom downtown Edmonton for $70,000. Like, Teslas cost more. So yeah, not all markets are screwed, but if you're looking for an investment, again, buy low, sell high, right? I sold high in the East Coast in PEI. My buddy bought a house, over doubled in 4 years in PEI. Like, when has that ever happened in the history of markets? WF going to starve us into compliance. Yeah, I'm not really into the whole WEF thing. Like, it's going to happen, right? Like, there's not really anything we can control about that. Instead of worrying about what they're going to do to screw us all over, figure out what you're going to do to protect yourself against that, right? Maybe you're going to hedge. Maybe you're going to short the S&P 500. Maybe you're going to own some cryptos. They're going to be the new financial system. If they do switch us over to a new financial system and look into XRP, XLM, Algorand, all these ones that are backed by the BIS and the WEF, right? And you might say, well, I'm not going to back what they're backing. And it's like, well, you're not backing it because you're a bad person. You want to intercept that money that they were going to get, and then you're going to use it for good, right? That's the difference between playing the game, right? If we can't beat them, join them. And then once we join them, we take the money that they were going to get, and then we use it for good. We use it for our families. We help our own families, and we go from there, right? Meparitis. Next coins to jump on, in my opinion, are banking coins such as XRP. That's literally what I just said. Hilarious. Yeah, the new financial system infrastructure, right? Meparatus, I think real book value for Hexo is 74. Yeah, I think it was, last I saw was somewhere around there too. Thanks for that. Justin, Verano looking ahead of the market. Oh, let's take a look. Yeah, this is one of the names I mentioned in one of my videos that definitely a good long-term entry. Yeah, it's kind of just like MSOS, right? Just weekly inside bar. Is it a daily inside bar, just like MSOS? Yep, but it broke bullish. So a little bit stronger than MSOS. And that's just the ETF that tracks all the names, right? So daily inside bar here and weekly inside bar. So it's kind of the same. Basically, if you're looking at one individual name in MJ, there's not really much point, right? Because even if it does outperform in the short term, unless MSOS and HMMJ, the ETFs, confirm weekly uptrends, we're not gonna have any conviction, right? We're gonna be skeptical, right? Because we need the whole sector to change, and unless the whole sector changes, we can just expect more of the same. But 23 minutes left in the day here. I'm gonna switch my funds over to. I'm going to do this here while I'm doing the live stream because we only got 23 minutes. If anybody has any other ticker requests or anything like that, let me know. But I'm going to go switch my retirement mutual funds, my retirement account from money market, which is cash, over to aggressive. Again, I'm not switching all of it. I'm probably going to switch about 50% because we're holding monthly EMA 26 here. And again, just like I said in my post, this morning, I said, remember, I was expecting 400 tests on SPY and weekly oversold for the first time since March 2020, and a monthly EMA 26 support test, first time since March 2020 as well. Also, DXY heavily overbought. And then I pasted this message from 1 week ago on May 2nd. I said SPY lost 410 support, like I said would likely happen on Friday, which would have been 3 days before that, so like the last day of April. We closed at the low of the month in April. We closed at the low of that weekly candle on the last week of April, and the last day of April we closed at the low on the daily candle. So I also said we were daily oversold twice since the beginning of 2020, and momentum is shifting, and I expect weekly oversold for the first time since March 20 COVID lows. I believe we will test 400 or a slight flush to hit weekly oversold and then a massive bounce. That was over 1 week ago, folks, and look where we are, just under 400 for a flush, and we're still holding EMA 26. We could still go a little bit lower, not saying we can't. We can't lose sight of the fact that DXY is a potential daily bull flag confirming with a target of 106. So we could see a little bit more downside. But again, I think once we get to 106, the dollar is going to be in for huge pullback. And what's the all-time high on the dollar? Looking at 121 and then 153. And the dollar, this doesn't mean that the dollar purchasing power is stronger. The DXY is just a basket of currencies measured against the dollar. So the dollar, in comparison to the euro, the yen, the won, all that stuff, the dollar is stronger. But the purchasing power is like all-time low, right? So don't conflate the two. But let me get back to my my switching of my investments here in my retirement account. So going from money market to aggressive. I'm going to stop talking here for a minute. If anybody has any questions, though, just put them in the chat, or if you have any ticker requests, let me know. I just need to focus here while I switch this over. It's my retirement funds I'm dealing with here, folks. Give me a break. Just 1 sec. Select, there we go. So again, not switching all of my portfolio over. And again, because mutual funds are not like ETFs, they don't trade on a stock exchange like a stock. They only execute the trade at the end of the day. So I'm switching my mutual fund here now, but the trade won't actually execute until the end of the market here in 20 minutes. So yeah, your switch transaction has been submitted on May 9th and will be processed subject to the following end of May 10th of May. Oh no. Subject to the following at the end of May 10th. Okay, it might not execute until tomorrow. Maybe it's at the open? I'll have to look into that. I thought as long as you sell it before the end of the day, maybe there's a cutoff time. It's a little concerning, but good thing I didn't switch the whole thing. That's the thing too, right? If we're expecting a bear market on the S&P 500, I'm not going to move my whole retirement into aggressive now, right? I only move like half of it. And then if I'm wrong, I still got some in money market and I can buy the dip a little bit more and then expect to bounce. But I'm not going to go, like that's what I think a lot of people do in MJ too. They go all in too quickly and they don't have realistic expectations, right? So I just switched 50% of those. I'm going to look into that, though. If anybody does know as well, if you're a mutual fund expert or if you have experience with that, I could have swore that it executes at the end of the day, but maybe there's a cutoff time. And again, I'm almost done here. I got 2 accounts, my retirement accounts, so I'm just almost done here. Money market. Aggressive growth. Continue. I'll let everybody know too if it shows that it executed at the end of today's price. Money market, select aggressive growth, switch, submit. And again, I did a video here on On my portfolio breakdown, I also did a game plan, hedge game plan, how to hedge, and I did that 6 days ago, right before the stock market completely crashed again, right? So I gave everybody a hedge plan, gave you a week heads up there, gave people a week heads up saying that I expected a flush of 400 and weekly oversold, and I even did my current portfolio breakdown video where I'll just bring it up here, the pie chart, but there's a reason why I'm holding 50% of my net worth in cash. And that is because this is 50% of my net worth cash. Then my largest position after that is real estate. Again, I just bought a condo in Edmonton, and I'm all out of the real estate except for that condo. And the only reason why I bought it is because it's $70,000, and it sold in 2007 for $240,000. So that same condo I bought for $70,000 sold for $240,000 way back in 2007, which was a lot of money back then. So that is heavily undervalued, and I'll easily hold that for the next 3 to 5 years, and I'll probably look to sell it around $150,000, $200,000. Next on my list is cryptocurrencies. I own more crypto. Less crypto than I do real estate, and less crypto than I do cash. And then my next biggest investment is MJ stocks. So MJ stocks is very, very low. And then I have my mutual funds at 5%, right? Which actually it's probably more than that now with MJ dropping. But again, I was in money market prepared for this drop, right? Because SPY was at 480, we hit the 4.618 extension and then some. And, we were up over 120% in a year from the March 2020 lows, or a couple of years. I was getting nervous. I didn't want to let my retirement just sit there. Like most people, again, not financial advice. This is just how I sleep at night. Why in the world would I just hold? You're not retiring for another 20, 30 years. Actually, I'm pretty much retired right now. It's because I didn't listen to the traditional way of investing. They just want to keep you broke. And then they take an MER, right? A management expense ratio. And then they just keep you coming back. And then guess what my financial advisor was telling me back here? Oh, just buy. You're young. Just buy. Just buy it. I'm like, no, you numbskull. It's going to drop 20 to 50%. And here we are down 17%. He stopped contacting me though. It's probably because he knows I'm right. I was like, how long have you been a financial advisor anyway? He's like, oh, it's going on my 3rd year. I was like, okay, I've got 15 years in the market. Contact me in 10 years. Again, not trying to be cocky or anything like that. It's just like when a financial advisor tells you to buy when the market's at an all-time high, find another financial advisor, please. Jeez. It's like, give me a break. All right. Sold my positions in my retirement account, going back into half into aggressive growth, half into money market. And we're testing EMA 26, like I said, at 398.40, and we're at 398.65. We're holding so far. Is this the bottom, folks? Temporary bottom? Are we going to bounce from here and then set a monthly lower high, weekly lower highs? See a relief rally, more than likely a dead cat bounce, and then a bear market into June, July? Do you think that's going to happen? Cura earnings today. Yeah, that should be interesting. But again, earnings don't matter, right? Look at GTII earnings. They were pretty good. 12 cent EPS, positive. So positive from operations. Their revenue did stall a little bit, but fundamentals just don't matter. Earnings don't matter until the weekly uptrends confirm on MSOS and HMMJ. I'm not really even paying attention to earnings, to be honest, because fundamentals don't matter and earnings are fundamentally based. Right? Hilarious how Luna and USD are bad. UST stablecoin dropped 5% today. Yeah, and a lot of people are saying it's some of the reason why Bitcoin's crashing. I think they're completely uneducated and just don't understand how markets work. If you looked at the S&P 500 and the NASDAQ, you would know that we've been correlating to the broader market and the equity markets. So if you're trying to just make up reasons as to why Bitcoin's down, again, maybe if SPY wasn't, at these major retracement levels and seeing massive downside, maybe. But again, this is why we look at everything. We look at crypto. We look at electric vehicles. We look at the solar sector. We look at the healthcare sector. We look at the financial sector. We look at the S&P 500, the tech sector. We look at oil. We look at commodities. And if everything's dropping to new lows, we're a little concerned. But again, something to be aware of is typically not what we see in a bear market is Tron, for an example. Tron is in a weekly uptrend. While most names are in weekly downtrends, Tron's in a weekly uptrend. That's not what we see in a bear market. In a bear market, we see everything trending lower with lower highs and lower lows and weekly downtrends. Tron's trending higher lows and higher highs in a weekly uptrend, right? So that's not this is showing strength in my opinion. And look, Bitcoin lost the weekly uptrend. If we bring up Ethereum lost the weekly uptrend, right? Take a look at the total market cap, lost the weekly uptrend. So Tron, notable strength. And we usually see everything dropping together. You might say, well, Tron's down 17% and the total's down 11%. Why isn't Tron weaker? And it's because Tron in the last week was up 63%. In the last few weeks, the last month, it's up 63%. But if you actually zoom in and understand what trends are, you would say, oh, okay, Tron's in a weekly uptrend, right? And then if we look at Bitcoin on the monthly time frame, people are saying bear market, bear market. Again, they don't know what they're talking about. In order to lose the bear market, we need to lose this higher low structure. And we're holding higher lows at this point. If we lose 28K, then yes, bear market confirmed. But this, given how bearish we are in the markets and interest rate and broader market, stocks, everything, this is showing strength, not weakness, in my opinion. The fact that those initial lows are holding. And this is a buying opportunity, in my opinion. Shilled by the biggest crypto YouTubers for months. Yep. Again, they don't shill it when they're buying, they shill it when they're selling, right? This is what it's called playing your book. JP Morgan in 2018 told its employees that if they even talked to their clients about Bitcoin or crypto, they would fire them. Then it was later proved that JP Morgan was the biggest buyer of crypto during that time. They also invested in Ethereum before the ICO and before Ethereum was even sold to the public, which they had an ICO and an unregistered securities offering. But again, because it's backed by JP Morgan and they were one of the initial investors in disguised whales, they're not going after it. The SEC is not going after it because the SEC is Goldman Gary and he used to work for Goldman. And guess what? Goldman and JP Morgan are tied at the hip. And they're all about the incumbents and protecting the traditional system and while they get set up. And now JP Morgan's offering, JP Morgan is actually coming out with a coin that's going to be exactly like XRP. They're like, cross-border remittances shouldn't take days. It should take seconds. We're in the age of the internet, and then, but yet Ripple's been doing that for 12, going on like since 2009 it was created, and then went live in like 2012, something like that. But yeah, no, JP Morgan's gonna figure it out. Yeah, and we trust JP Morgan, right? We don't trust Ripple, the American company that's headquartered in Silicon Valley that's transparent, that releases quarterly reports, even though they're a private company and they disclose exactly how much they hold and they sell of XRP, and they're an American company, but yet, no, we want to support Ethereum and a JP Morgan-backed financial institution and Wall Street crooks, right? Ethereum is the true banker's coin, and it doesn't even work. The founder said that it was built as a demo, a project, a prototype, and a toy. They said, kid you not, they said that, and they said it wasn't scalable. They knew from the beginning that it wasn't scalable, that it was going to be a prototype, and that's why they're coming out with Ethereum 2.0, which is, again, why do you think they're going to reward the rich and go to proof of stake? Because JP Morgan holds the most of it, right? JP Morgan wants to make even more money. So it's all, like, get the hell out of Ethereum, people. It's the banker's coin, 100%. Not financial advice, entertainment purposes only. But I despise Ethereum. Saw the car crash coming miles away. Yep. Another good reason for crypto, you don't need to wait days for transactions. Yeah, and stocks are going to be settled on crypto soon on the blockchain. Stocks actually take 3 days to settle. So remember on tax loss selling, when people, it said 3 days, the deadline was the end of the month, but you had to sell like 3 days before. That's because stocks look like they settle right away in your account, but on the back end in your broker, they don't actually settle for 3 days. So the XRP ledger is going to be used, in my opinion, as a blockchain settlement mechanism for traditional stocks, and eventually stocks are going to trade 24/7 as well, and they're going to settle in 3 seconds on the XRP ledger. Apparatus, it's usually 2 to 3 days to swap to another account. Exactly. For deposits, I usually use instead deposit. My friend was actually in Thailand as well, and he did a wire transfer from his bank, and it was there in like hours. So I'm wondering if these private banks and these remittance corridors are already using XRP, and we're just not completely aware of it. It used to take 3 to 5 days for those to send from Thailand to Canada, right? But here we are going on an hour and 24 minutes. And are we still having fun? SPY 396. Here's that stop loss hunting we were talking about. 8 minutes left. Let's see if we can close right on EMA 26 there at 398. 5 minute oversold. Wouldn't be surprised if we bounced here into the end of it. Let's see if we can close at 398. Super glad I didn't switch my mutual funds and retirement account last week, though. pretty much all out of my SPY short. And like I said, that was a major short opportunity here on SPY. We had the daily lower high at 429.64. We ran all the way from 405 to 429 without a higher low or the daily trend change. And then we double topped perfectly by 2 pennies and then straight into a new lower low. Like, what an amazing short. I know a couple people in our group took a short there. That was just money. I despise every ERC20 tokens, to be honest. Well, they're all securities, right? They were all issued in an ICO. We have, let's play it. Let's just play it. So Ripple's knocked on for being transparent in their quarterly reports, but Ethereum won't even tell us how much the Ethereum Foundation holds, and the Ethereum Foundation sold, Vitalik confirmed that the Ethereum Foundation sold a bunch on the run up to the all-time highs. And let's just take a look at, where is it? Listen to this. Joe Lubin, Ethereum co-founder.
A person can buy from any number of different identities. We may limit the size, the unit size of the sale, just to be easier to size. Let's say if you're a whale and you want to size, you can buy.
All right, listen and watch the transcript here.
Will there be a limit on the amount that a person could invest in Ethereum? A person can buy from any number of different identities. We may limit the size, the unit size of the sale, just to be easier to size. Let's say if you're a whale and you want to size, you can buy.
Oh man, like WTF, right? Let's say you're a whale and you want some privacy. We can help you disguise that, right? Like, would there be a minimum amount that someone could invest? Oh, well, we'll just create multiple accounts and then we'll do in a minimum amount so that we can disguise it if you're a whale. Like, how is that protecting investors? Where's the transparency in this? Like, I absolutely despise Ethereum. Like, and I will never, ever put another dollar into it ever again because I don't support JP Morgan. Like, maybe if it gets super low, again, it was just at $80 back in March 2020. So I'd have to see it maybe at like a couple $100s before I would buy it, and I would not be looking to hold it long term because Ethereum is the banker's coin. We have all of the proof, and this Joe Lubin guy is like, how sketchy did he sound there? He even said that Ethereum was a prototype and a demo, and they're coming out with proof of stake that rewards the rich even more. Like, how can anybody support that project? Yes, they have a lot of developers, but it doesn't even work. The fees are ridiculous. The fees cost more than some NFTs when you go to buy NFTs, and the NFTs have been having huge issues as well. Like, people have been paying the gas fees and then didn't get their NFTs, right? It was like in that other side, I think they lost like millions and millions of dollars worth of gas fees. People never got it back, and they didn't get their NFTs. So NFTs are coming to the XRP ledger. I'm not a XRP maximalist. I'm a realist, right? And Bitcoin, we don't know who created it. That is a big problem. With XRP, we know exactly who created it and when. And with Ripple, we know exactly what the private company does, not the security of XRP is not a security of Ripple. Ripple actually has its own private shares, which you can buy on Link 2. And we know exactly who the creators are, when it was created, and it was created by Bitcoin developers. David Schwartz used to work for the NSA and was one of the original developers of the Bitcoin code. He actually improved the Bitcoin code. And then they all went on, a bunch of Bitcoin developers, to create the XRP ledger, which was to tackle cross-border payments. And we know they have the 43rd Treasurer of the United States, Rosie Rios, on their board. And we know that also a member of their board of Ripple just joined the Federal Reserve, is elected to become the new president of the Federal Reserve, right? Which is the whole monetary policy of the U.S. Oh, man. Hope you guys see what's going on. Total crooks, ETH, cheerleaders. Yeah, I mean, congrats to those who made money. I guess we're all in it about making money. But I was at Bitcoin Miami as well, and I met a couple people, and they said they're building a case against Ethereum, the SEC. I don't know how much truth there is to that, but it'd be pretty easy, right? It'd be like low-hanging fruit to go after Ethereum. We have a common enterprise. We have people we can pin it to. We have video footage of Joe Lubin, like I just showed you, saying how to disguise purchases. He even, Vitalik even made fun of, he called them feeble Americans and how they went to Switzerland to skirt legal, the ramifications and to get around that legal framework. But they're still touching investors in the U.S. Doesn't matter where the hell you are based out of, you are still touching investors in the U.S. And Vitalik used to work for Ripple. He got the idea of smart contracts from Ripple. He used to work for Ripple as an intern and then went on to create Ethereum. Like, I wish people would be more intellectually honest and tell the truth. Like, if you just put a little, I've got more than 10,000 hours invested into into MJA, into crypto. I've got like 100,000 hours probably in all of it, in investing and in general. And it's just amazing how how these people don't tell the truth, and it's sickening. And that's why I created this platform, so I could come on here and correct it all, because there's just so much lies and deceit and borderline manipulation that's going on, right? Look where SPY closed, 398. Oh, I guess it didn't close yet. We got minute 21 seconds. But what did I say? Watch 398. We went, hit that stop loss. Just like, can't remember who said it now. Afterwards, and it's going to go, I think you were talking about crypto actually, but same kind of idea. I kind of like BTC, but ETH is a total crap coin. Well, Bitcoin doesn't really do anything, though. At least Ethereum does stuff. It's just terrible technology. And BTC is like literally the least technologically advanced crypto, right? Just because it was first doesn't mean it's going to be the best or the longest lasting. That's like saying dial-up should have lasted we should not use high speed and broadband because dial-up was the first. Or we had black and white TVs; those work fine. Why do we need color TVs, right? Or the flip phones. Why do we need to go to smartphones? Flip phones work perfectly. So just because it's first, MySpace was first. Where are they today, right? AOL, right? Where are all these first mover advantage? It's not always the case, right? Now Tesla's a little bit of a different example, but Tesla was also sued by the SEC, and they were told that if they didn't follow the SEC, that the SEC would bankrupt Tesla. So essentially, they were blackmailed. And the only reason why Tesla is where it is because of the SEC intervention. And again, another complete manipulation of the markets. And then we know that all the executive orders and all the bills that they came out with were, electric charging stations and all that stuff, right? And they were just loading up. It was even proved that the Congress officials were buying stocks at the same time they were making laws to prop up the market, right? It's so manipulated, and these are just crooks. They should be behind bars. Right? You should not be able to govern laws and make laws and then buy individual stocks. And now, the media is like, oh, Congress shouldn't be allowed to own stocks anymore. And it's like, who made that rule in the first place? Like, oh my God, a newborn baby could have realized that was a bad idea, right? You should never be, anybody who's an elected representative should not be able to own anything that is touching equity markets, right? It just... the world we live in, I tell you. But Bitcoin, I think it's a good. It only has one use case, right? Digital gold, because it's deflationary in nature. But guess what? Ethereum's moving to a deflationary model, and guess what's also deflationary in nature? XRP. XRP will only have 100 billion created, which have already been pre-mined, and there's a reserve for every new account that gets created. So the reserve is 10 XRP. So if you create an account on XRP, 10 XRP are locked into that account forever, and you need at least 10 XRP to create the account. So that means that it protects against these DDoS attacks, denial of service. So if somebody wanted to spam the XRP ledger, they could if there was no fees to open an XRP account. But because it cost 10 XRP, they couldn't create millions and millions of accounts to flood the network and to bring down the network, right? And to flood it and congest it. That wouldn't happen because it would cost them 10 XRP, and it would cost them more than it would gain them, right? Because somebody might short it and then DDoS, denial of service, try to bring down the network, and then they would make a ton of money off that short. But if they did that today, they would have to build a short and then pay all this money in reserves for XRP. So XRP is deflationary in nature, and it's the best cryptocurrency. It settles with finality in 3 to 5 seconds, and it's blazing fast, it's green, it's carbon neutral, there's no mining required. Right. Eventually, I think Bitcoins actually may even get issued on the XRP ledger. We know that Casino Coin was a fork of the Litecoin ledger, and then they forked over to the XRP ledger. So they went to Litecoin, now they're using XRP. So again, it can happen. And XRP flushing about below 50 cents and holding, and what did I say? Watch 398 on SPY. We close right at 398. My God, technical analysis is awesome. Like, if you guys don't believe in it, that's fine, you know, but you're going to be at a huge disadvantage. That's like saying fundamentals don't matter, right? Technicals and fundamentals definitely matter. Sometimes they matter more than the other, vice versa. But you're completely naive if you say that technicals don't matter, because how did I know it was going to close at 498? Or sorry, 398, right? But yeah, Bitcoin, I was all out last year. Ethereum, I was all out as well. And a lot of this stuff has just come up with Ethereum over the last year or so, because this lawsuit with XRP, and Bank of International Settlements actually said that the XRP community is the smartest and most intelligent crypto community out there. Why? Because we're realists. Down with bank mentality, you're just a complete moron. Sorry, but banks aren't going anywhere, okay? If you think that, you're completely out to lunch. Like, they'll bring out the tanks and the guns and everything else before they give up their sovereignty and their power. There's no way. And guess what? This was probably created by the banks, right? Came out after the first financial crisis of 2008. In my opinion, it was created by a group of governments or a three-letter agency, and they can't tell us who the creator of Bitcoin was, because if they tell us, imagine if we found out that the Bitcoin was actually not a libertarian person in Japan who was a 34-year-old male. Imagine if we found out that the US government or the CIA or the NSA or a group of governments or a three-letter agency created Bitcoin and they hold the most of it in reserves, like the Genesis block, Satoshi, the first block that was ever mined, and that hasn't moved. So if the U.S. government holds the billions and billions of dollars worth of it, and they own the most of it, oh my God, it'd be World War III, right? It'd just be like complete chaos. So I don't think because of that we'll ever find out who the Bitcoin owner is, and I think that a lot of the wealthy people already know who created Bitcoin. Because why would Michael Saylor put billions and billions of dollars into Bitcoin if he didn't know who created it? That to me tells me that they know who created it. They just know that it probably will never be leaked to the public. And even if it is leaked, they'll never confirm it, right? They'll never say that this was confirmed. They might say, we might find out these are, there might be some evidence supporting it, but they're just going to deny it, right? They'll just deny it forever, because like I said, it would be complete chaos if we thought Bitcoin was created by people for the people, the people's money, and then we later found out that it was created by a group of governments that completely are spying on us. Bitcoin is more traceable than cash, right? Look at the Colonial Pipeline hack. Not only did they find the people who took the money and the Bitcoin and ransomware, they were able to get it back. Like, man, guys. Anyway, going off on a tangent. Thanks. The only conspiracy theory I believe. Yeah, it's the only thing that makes sense, right? I'm not into conspiracy theories either. I just go with what makes the most sense. And if the internet if the Internet of Information was created by the U.S. military and the CIA, who do you think created the Internet of Information and money? Well, it only makes sense, right? Probably some government or a group of them. And I actually read a paper in German that was dated 2013. I read it in 2019. They said they were going to create, I had to use Google Translate to translate this document from German to English. And it said in 2019, when I read it, the paper was dated 2013, a whistleblower from the German government. He said that the world governments were going to create a SARS-like virus to get rid of cash. And then what do you know? A couple years later, COVID hit. And then, not saying COVID's not a real thing, but I was warned in 2019 that this could happen and they were to get rid of cash, right? What's the most threat to governments and tax evasion and used by criminals is cash, right? Bitcoin's actually super traceable because it's all open source, and if they get a warrant, all they have to do is track down your IP address, go through the ISP service provider. Like, there's so many ways for them to track it down. And this was, in my opinion, the perfect way to trap criminals and things like that, think that it's non-traceable, and then criminals go into it, they get, they reset the financial system. They own the most Bitcoin. So not only are they making money on the way up, they're catching all the criminals at the same time. And they can monitor us, right? Once there's a central bank digital currency, like in China, it's programmable money. If somebody goes and buys $10,000 worth of goods and services, it'll flag the system in China, and it'll say, look into this gentleman or this lady who spent $10,000 or equivalent of $10,000. And then they say, oh, okay, they bought a car. It's fine. Move on. But if it's from some sketchy entity and this might be some kind of, terrorism or drug trafficking or some other form of trafficking, then they look into it, right? So they're going to be able to spy on you even more. That's the whole idea of this. Markets are not free markets. No way. They're manipulated. Hexo pumping after hours. Nice. Dump of today canceled so far, in my opinion. Well, I added Hexo today. You should see the CBG partner news, though, at some point in the next couple of weeks. And it should line up for a nice bounce in the broader market, in my opinion. And a Bitcoin ETF, spot ETF, would be absolutely something to keep in mind, too. What did they do in 2000 in the .com era? A couple pennies. Let me know when it hits $1. But what did they do in Amazon before they crashed the stock market in 2000 in the .com days? Let's go back. Let's just go back. Of course, it's not on the... I think I got to go in the daily time frame. Yeah. Doesn't show the earnings and stuff. Those symbols. So let me go back. Where are we at? 2010. Okay. So we're in 2000. Look what happened to Amazon right before it peaked. They split it. Why did they split it? Because then more retail can buy it. What's going to happen soon? Amazon's going to do a 20-for-1 stock split. So when most people can't buy Amazon at $2,100, what's it going to be after a 20-to-1 stock split? 2176 divided by 20. It's going to be a $108 stock. What perfect way to end off the blow off top and the bull market than to pawn it off on retail, and because it's too expensive now, we're going to make it $100 so that retail can buy it, and then we're going to crash it 50% in a bear market, right? It's just so obvious what they're doing. And it was also 4 years from the peak of the RSI on SPY. What else were they going to do to pawn it off? Oh yeah, spot Bitcoin ETF. So if the spot Bitcoin ETF gets approved, it's going to be bullish for the market, and for stocks and crypto. And if a spot ETF gets approved, what does that mean? It means that people are going to be able to buy Bitcoin in their traditional stock accounts. So again, what better way to top the market than open up an ETF that's going to allow every mom and pop and every investor, retail investor, to buy Bitcoin in their traditional stock accounts? Because a lot of people don't want to own the actual crypto, right? It's too risky. They don't want to manage it. They don't want to worry about hacks and things like that. They just want it to be FDIC insured or federally insured under the banking laws, so that if it does go under, that they're insured right up to like $1 million or whatever it is, or $250,000, whatever it is. But what better way to top the market than to approve a spot Bitcoin ETF? We know that Australia just approved a spot Bitcoin and Ethereum ETF. Canada has one, and it's been over a year since it's been live, so they have all the data and blueprint to go off of, and proof of concept. And they've already approved 2 spot Bitcoin ETFs, so that, in my opinion, we could see a spot Bitcoin ETF approved. If we do, I think it's going to be over the next couple months. But if not, it will likely be the next bull market. But I think we're going to see that, and that's what's going to pawn it off on retail. Markets are not free. Hexo pumping dump of the day. Short squeeze. Yeah, I saw MJ's CGC short squeeze alert was Canopy short squeeze alert was, and then I saw somebody bought Tilray today. Let's go to the Cannabis News channel. Missouri, where was it? Huh. Where did I post that? Oh yeah, Giant Pension bought AMD, Tilray, Uber today. New Jersey State Pension materially increased investments into chipmaker AMD and MJ producer Tilray. Uber. Let's take a look at some of these other news alerts going on. And again, if you don't know what our private chat community is, we have all these automatic, it just pulls the news automatically. So we do crypto news, MJ news, Forex news, general news, and it brings this all into, you never have to check the news website ever again, really. Then we've got channels dedicated to cannabis, crypto. You even got the POW algo alert, which sends buy and sell signals. So like I said, we had a sell alert back on Tesla on May 6th. We had sell alerts on the NASDAQ back on April 29th. There was a sell alert on TrueLeaf back on April 23rd. DA sell alert on the 16th of April. We had a sell alert back in SPY back in April 1st. Sorry, that was a buy alert, and then we had a huge move, and then we had another retracement. So anyway, this is all sent into the private chat room community, but we also email it out. And like I said, we have free trials to the POW Group community, and I'm going to be giving away 2 annual memberships. So if you go over your community, I'm going to be giving away 2 gold annual memberships valued at $149.99 each, so $150 each, total of $300. I'll be doing a giveaway on March 14th. I'll be going live. I'll also schedule it so that you'll see that I'm going to, in a couple hours, it'll say, POW Group's going live in a couple hours, so you'll give it a couple hours heads up. And then as long as you're on that live stream and you comment, I'll just do a random comment picker, and 2 people will win. And that'll be a free annual membership to the private community that I just showed you. But I think short squeeze is definitely set up. Like I said, a SPY holds the lows here. In my opinion, XRP lawsuit and incoming soon. I think so too. I think Ethereum 2.0 is going to launch. I think we're going to see a spot Bitcoin ETF approved. I think XRP is going to end the lawsuit. I think we're going to see Flare Networks launch July 4th. We also know that the SDR baskets is going to be rebalanced at the end of July. There's so many bullish catalysts coming forward. It's not even funny. But yeah, I would have to agree. All right, we're coming on 2 hours. Yeah, I was feeling live streamy today. And now Bitcoin bouncing. SPY bouncing after hours. Yep, $3.99. Oh man, if we go back up to 450 from here, the bears are just going to hate life, right? Huge bear trap. But again, I was telling people to be cautious here, and now to start selling here. But most people are selling here, right? They're panic selling because they don't sell towards resistance like you should and buy near support. They do the opposite, right? Because that's why retail loses 90% of the time, if not more. All right, what do we close at here? Coin, Riot, BLU led the decline today. KHC, TAP leading the bull list. I think Coin's going to be a solid swing here, folks. We don't have any monthly RSI defined yet, but weekly weekly RSI down in almost in the teens. What an awesome long play. I'd probably set a stop under $80 and look to ride this thing back up to like 200. So you could even risk like a little bit more than that, right? Risk $10 or something like that, $5-10 to make upwards of. So like it's easier to do it in percentage. So risk, 5 to 10 to 15%. To make upwards of 100 to 200%, right? And it's a gamble going into earnings. Everybody knows that. And just be careful, though. If you do set a stop loss, it could gap down, right? Because the earnings are tomorrow after the bell. So if you don't play after hours, it could easily suck you in, gap down. Uber, another really good entry, in my opinion. The fundamentals and financials aren't that great. But I think Uber is going to be one of those stocks that goes to like $500 to $1,000 at some point over the next bull market. But this one I'm really bullish on for the long term. I won't be able to make it to the stream on my PC, but I'll make sure to add a comment from my cell phone and watch the stream later. Yeah, exactly. It's gonna be a short stream anyway, and then I'll give it maybe 5 to 10 minutes for people to join, and then I'll do make sure everybody gets their comments in, and then I'll just say cut off as time. This is the cutoff, and then I'll do a random comment selector. So yeah, I'll probably give it like 10 minutes into the stream, and then after 10 minutes, I'll do the 2 random comments. So the stream will probably only be like 10 or 15 minutes long at the most. But yeah, good luck to everybody entering into that. Like I said, SPY closed at 398 like I was looking for, and we're up a little bit after hours, about 0.2%. And also crypto crypto confirming 15-minute uptrends here. The low, high, higher, low, and higher high. So back into a 15-minute uptrend. Usually that means zoom out and look for an hourly bounce, which is the case. So we're bouncing on the hourly. Now we need to confirm an hourly uptrend. So once we top out on the hourly, we'll look for a higher low and a higher high. Then we zoom out to the 4-hour time frame. 4-hour bounce will be underway. Then we look for a higher low and higher high.
Once we confirm a 4-hour uptrend, we zoom out to the daily. Daily bounce will be underway. Look for a higher low and higher high. See how much work we have to do as bulls. So bears are in full control, right? Then we have to zoom out to the weekly, start the weekly bounce, then confirm a weekly uptrend. Then on the monthly time frame, we're now in a monthly downtrend. Now we need to get back into a monthly uptrend. So in my opinion, we're on the brink of collapse, but I think we're going to see a huge rally first, and then we're going to roll over into June, July into a massive bear market. All right, going to end it there. Thanks again, everybody, for joining us on The Pursuit of Wealth. It's Rod with Power Group. Hope you have a great night, and we'll see you guys. I might do another video a little bit later on, but we'll see. It's been a long stream, almost 2 hours, so anybody still listening, kudos to you. You're going to be an absolute boss in the market, and yeah, now's the time where we want to pay attention the most. A lot of people use the, bury their head in the sand type of approach, and now is the time where I pay the most attention and where I come on and I support you guys, right? I'm not like most people where they only cover things when they're going up. Like, how many YouTube channels stop covering MJ in a bear market because they don't want to look bad? That's when I know people need the support the most, so I actually come on and I support you guys even more in a bear market, because I know that that is when people need it the most. And if you ever need to pick me up or anything like that, just let me know. If you need any help, any suggestions, I totally understand. It's not an easy market right now. I'm not a financial advisor. I'll just give you my honest opinion, and this is not financial advice, right? It's for entertainment purposes only, but at the same time, I'm here as your friend and just local, or your fellow retail investor, right? I want everybody to succeed. The more people that succeed in life, I get pleasure. I'm not like these classic internet trolls that come on here and get pleasure out of making people feel bad and just being miserable. I'd rather build people up, right? And in a world such as this, we know we can use all the positivity we can get. Thanks so much for joining us on The Pursuit of Wealth, everybody. If you could smash the like, it helps support me in the channel. Doesn't cost you anything. If you're new, subscribe, tick the bell, you'll be notified on any future updates. We'll see you on the next video.